Welcome to the Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe 2020 launch. Hello everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. Today is a momentous day, a day for which I am privileged to be standing before you. A day in which we launch the Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe, an initiative that's going to change the landscape for entrepreneurs in certainly Zimbabwe, possibly Africa, and definitely the world. My name is Barry Manandi, and I'm privileged to be your host today. Without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to call upon the chairman of ENZ, and that is Mr. Gillian Rusika, to tell us a bit more about what we're here to launch.
Hello everybody, welcome to the launch of ENZ. This is a very exciting moment for us, the board and everybody else involved. Let me go straight to my salutations for the sake of our time. Our guest of honor, a renowned entrepreneur and businessman of note, Mr. Shingi Mtasa. Thank you, sir, for joining us for this very great occasion in our history as entrepreneurs. ENZ board members here present, members of the media here present, the audience and everybody out there who is listening and watching us, it's a warm welcome to you all. When I posted the ENZ flyer on social media, one of my mentors immediately sent me a message and asked, Gillian, what does ENZ stand for? I hope it's not one of these talk shows. You need to create real and tangible impact with these organizations. I assured her that ours is a real action-oriented organization. We sat down and interrogated the vision and objectives of the organization and set a clearly laid down plan. Our actions and plans are for the benefit of our members, I assure them. We have designed a program that yields results for everyone who becomes a member of the network. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, at ENZ, we are inspired by the Shona adage which goes, "Zikomo zvikuru zvinopana mute." Simply translated in English as big mountains share the mist. This statement summarizes the vision that has prompted a group of trailblazing entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe to come together to establish Entrepreneurial Network of Zimbabwe. Globalization, ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, has brought merciless competition to local establishments and businesses, especially local entrepreneurs who do not have the financial muscle to withstand the threatening financial giants investing everywhere. In order to survive in this business jungle, business, particularly entrepreneurs, need to move away from competition to cooperation, a thrust that sees businesses agreeing to compete in a competitive manner. Against this background, ladies and gentlemen, ENZ believes that smart competition can drive local entrepreneurs to new levels through sharing of expertise, as well as pulling resources together to propel their individual businesses to the next level. A lot of brilliant and great ideas have seen the premature death because the entrepreneur lacked the capacity and support from other colleagues to steer through the business maze. With the advent of technology and social media, many businesses are threatened because simply people nowadays want to do business with people they know and people they like. It is therefore paramount that for any entrepreneur to be successful and go very far, they need to move with others. As the saying goes, if you want to go very fast, go alone. But if you want to go very far, go with others. In cognizance of the above and many other factors, Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe has thus been established with a vision to promote synergistic growth and self-empowerment of local entrepreneurs. The realization that so many people have great ideas but lack the know-how to take them to the next level is one of the reasons why we have agreed to pursue this vision. The major quest being to anchor each other and every member of the network through resource mobilization and business support. Every member of the network needs to represent another member's business whenever there is a potential client. In fact, the network is premised upon creating a network of businesses that support each other and creates a value chain that ensures everyone is successful and afloat. ENZ is of the strongest opinion that money should circulate within the membership first before it is transferred externally when all possibilities have been exhausted. This support system will allow everyone to work with each other as areas of specialization always differ. In promoting each other's businesses, ENZ believes that every member should be able to represent another member in instances where a different specialty is needed or any inquiry is made. Generation of business leads for another member is a prerequisite nature of the members in order to thrive in the so merciless business environment. ENZ's mission is to develop a generation of result-driven entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders with a national impact and global appeal. This they will achieve through strategic synergies within and outside the network of members, internal and local resources mobilization, lobbying for national and international inclusion, exchange programs, self or member crowdfunding, promotion of business linkages, events and business promotion activities, identification and creation of external markets for member businesses, and, but not last, creation of imports or export logistical channels for the members. The whole basis of the creation of ENZ is therefore summarized in the context of 4 major focus areas: business support, number 1, self-funding, number 2, market development, number 3, and lobbying, number 4. The trust has clearly defined its objectives, and chief amongst them include mobilizing a fund from the members through subscriptions for purposes of supporting or funding member projects at very affordable and agreed rates. Capital has been identified as one of the major constraints to business growth, as it comes with a heavy price tag. But the network desires to build a fund through small monthly contributions where members can extract from at agreed terms, like I alluded to before. ENZ also believes that business mentorship and support is very critical for any startup or aspiring entrepreneur, irrespective of the sector one desires to venture into. It is thus critical for the tried and tested entrepreneurs to offer this critical support to the masses of aspiring business people in the country. A platform for the exchange of know-how and experiences amongst entrepreneurs is critical, as our trust is always premised on synergistic approach to business. It is also critical to engage with relevant government authorities as they create policies that ultimately affect both businesses and entrepreneurs. Hence, the network desires to participate and lobby in policy development and laws that will have an impact on the businesses. A wait-and-see attitude does not work in this day of doing business, but a participative approach and engagement will yield the much-needed results. ENZ envisions itself as the ultimate apex body of progressive-minded entrepreneurs poised for growth and supporting each other. Membership is open to all entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs as well. Ladies and gentlemen, no doubt there are so many entrepreneur organizations out there, but we are different from them. Ours is an action-oriented organization. Ours is poised to revolutionize the entire landscape and open doors for both practicing and aspiring entrepreneurs. I urge every future-oriented entrepreneur in this country to come on board and work together to support each other and ultimately lift the Zimbabwean flag high. Allow me at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the team that is behind ENZ. Firstly, I will introduce myself as the first chairman of ENZ, Rusike Gillian, and being the founder and executive secretary of Marketers Association. The vice chairperson is Nobunko Sindlovu. She is the CEO of Nitru Foods. Our secretary is Mr. Rhinos Mauta. He is the CEO of Tech24 Group. Our treasurer is Mr. George Munengwa. He is the CEO of ProA. Board member in charge of investments and projects is Chikomborero Chipunza. She is the partner of GAA Associates. Our legal mind, who is our legal advisor, is Alex Mambosasa, who is the senior partner of Mambosasa Legal Practitioners. Our board member in charge of marketing and PR is Eugene Peters, who is the CEO of Spidex. Trish Kamen, she is currently our CEO, our acting CEO, but she is also the group CEO of Luminance Group real estate. It is paramount, ladies and gentlemen, that an organization of entrepreneurs is led and run by entrepreneurs to eliminate the talk show mentality, a characteristic of so many other organizations. We are indeed a solid team of practicing business people who demonstrate capability and action through the businesses we have established. I thank you.
Since we're in the vein of African adages and proverbs, the African proverb says that it takes a village to raise a child. If you picture your business or your idea as a child, then you certainly need a village to raise it. And Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe is exactly that village in which you can raise your child successfully. Thank you very much to the chairman of ENZ, the inaugural chairman of ENZ, Gillian Rusika, for those remarks. It gives us great pleasure to call upon a board member of ENZ. He is the CEO of a great organization called Spidex. He is in charge of marketing and PR on the board of ENZ. His name, Eugene Peters.
Thank you very much, Barry. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "For better is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure." Today, ENZ is the birth of a new beginning for entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe. Entrepreneurs who have gone through pain, through that pain, wisdom has become. We have gone through hardships, resilience has become part of our blood and DNA. Today, we have launched something that is for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. This platform is not just a talk show, as our chairman said. This platform is for practicing entrepreneurs. It is for entrepreneurs who want to see their vision become, who want to scale their business, who want to become greater than they are. We don't see this platform also as a platform that will end in Zimbabwe. It is a platform that we want to take to Africa, a platform that we want it to become a globally recognized institution. Also, we want to come also to give a message to government, to say we want to be part of the mainstream conversations in terms of entrepreneurship development in the country. Because today, entrepreneurs are the ones who are running global economies. We look at the technology companies, we are the disruptors of the new business. We are the founders of the new capital. So this is the message that we want to give to all fellow entrepreneurs to say, join us, join the winning team, to dare mighty things for us to become a great nation, a great institution. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Eugene. And as you've been hearing and have heard, our guest of honor at this launch of ENZ is a serial entrepreneur, Shingai Mutasa. We'll be talking to him next. It's the launch of ENZ, the Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe. And as you heard earlier from our chairman, Gillian Rusike, we have an esteemed guest in our midst, and that's Shingai Mutasa, a renowned entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, I dare say. And we're going to have a short conversation with him now just to find out his thoughts on entrepreneurship. And I suppose, Shingai, a great place to start would be to get a handle and an understanding of what does it take to be an entrepreneur? And in your view, what is the DNA of an entrepreneur, including community and service to society?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this august occasion. I think an organization that is being created that is critical for the future of our country. I actually don't think there's a DNA for an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody, man, woman, young, old, who believes they have something that the market wants and are capable of delivering to the market that product. And that product can be goods, it can be services. So I don't think there is such a...
But doesn't it take a special type of person to be able to identify that need? Because in truth, you and I can walk in Bari today, And what we will see will be different. What I will see is people who are struggling, trying to eke out a living. What you will see is an opportunity to consolidate all of those people who are selling their vegetables, create a huge supermarket for them, and then they're able to stock their wares. So what we're seeing is different. And isn't that a result of the innate ability that you have to see an opportunity?
I think one of the things you must understand about entrepreneurship is that it's very different. There was an article, a video that I was presented a few months ago, and I was shown this woman selling bread, small, not loaves of bread, but
Sure.
At the corner close to a bus stop. And in this video, the question was asked, how much do you think this person is making? We eventually realized she was making 3,000 rands a day.
Wow.
A day. Just sitting on the corner, selling a bottle of water and selling bread. Now, from my perspective, the fact that she found the location and she realized that there was such a significant market that was coming to her all the time. This woman was making 3,000 rand a day. In my mind, she's an entrepreneur.
For sure.
From my perspective, I see what I've become. I've become an investor. Although an entrepreneur, I've become an investor, which is a different skill set to what she does. I can't do what she does, and she probably does it really well, because you can imagine others have tried to kick her off that particular spot.
Definitely.
Others have tried to sell alongside her, but she has been able over time to withstand competition and deliver an excellent product to the market. We are different, but we are both entrepreneurs. So I think it's very important that we understand that entrepreneurship is not defined by the way you dress, or defined by the car you're driving, or defined by these. It is a completely different set of rules, and all of us have the capacity to be entrepreneurs.
It brings about an interesting conversation around scale, because it's easy when you're an entrepreneur to think to yourself that as long as I am not turning over, call it $1 million a year, I'm not an entrepreneur. But as you point out, the product looked like nothing. And I'm sure the guesses that were made around what she was making at that street corner were ridiculously low.
Yes.
But she took something that was small and was able to scale it and deliver it in the right quantities for her market.
Correct.
And it made a difference.
Correct.
So I think there needs to be, where did you make the distinction as an individual about where you wanted to play? Because you play in the big boys game, massive boys game. But it's not any different to the lady you spoke about?
Zero difference, truly. Because we are all trying to achieve the same objective. We believe we've got a product that the market wants, and she does it in her way very, very well.
So where did you pivot? Where did you realize, I want to play in the big boys game? Was there realization?
I don't know whether there's ever been this perception that I want to play a big boys game. I've always felt that I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted to make a difference at scale. So it was the choice of scale more than the need to make a particular amount of money. I've always had this conversation where in my 20s, when I started, I wanted to be a sterling millionaire by the time I was 30. And that drove me for...
Sterling, not a dollar million.
No, I was ambitious.
Brilliant.
But I failed. I mean, I failed completely. I never got anywhere close to that by the time I was 30. And it was only at that point that I began to realize that money as an element should not be the driver of anything that I do. Some people are lucky, money continues to be the sole purpose of their entrepreneurship. Mine was different. I wanted to make a difference. So my drive has always been to do businesses where at the end I will feel like I've made a difference.
Okay.
But that's my raison d'etre. Others, it's about I want to be worth £1 million. I want to be worth 100 million US dollars. I want to be able to send my children to school, which I think most people are driven by. Feed my family, send my kids to school, and do it in a way where I can still buy and build a home.
Can I follow that on with an existential question? Are you happy? In other words, I'm not talking about smiling and being gleeful every day. Are you happy in the sense that you went out and want to make a difference? Are you making a difference now?
Okay. Answering the first question, sometimes I pinch myself because I am incredibly happy. Truly, I live in a space where I wish everybody lived. And it's actually not about the money. I think there are many people, even in this country, who make more money than I do.
I would struggle to look for them, but I'll accept.
At the core, I am incredibly happy. Do I think I've achieved my goals? No. But I'm clear about what my goals are, and I'm working every day to achieving those goals. Some of them are very significant, and I may not achieve them in this lifetime. But when I look at the organization we've built, Masawara, we are structuring it so that even if I'm not there, it will achieve those goals. So to answer your question, I'm incredibly happy.
And in that pursuit of happiness, there's an element that entrepreneurs always talk about, and that is mentorship. What's your view on that, firstly? And then secondly, who have been some of the mentors, if any, that have helped you on your journey?
Sure. I think everybody needs mentorship. I was very fortunate. My biggest mentor was my father. So, and I've begun to realize that.
And he was in business, yes?
He was in business. But I began to realize that it's actually not an ordinary state where your father is your mentor. I think a lot of our society has been completely disaggregated, where the father is not normally there. And those that are there have not been entrepreneurs. So the ability to generate that mentorship may change. But beyond my father, I think over the years I've been able to meet some incredible men and women who I've been able to take a snippet from.
Okay.
A lunch conversation, a dinner conversation.
Without it actually being active
without
mentorship.
I don't think I've ever had active mentorship.
Okay.
My conversations with my father, I didn't think they were mentorship. I was talking to my old man.
But in hindsight?
It became clear that it was mentorship. Again, when I failed at the age of 30, my father could see that his son was not in good shape. So he asked, and I hadn't told him that was my goal, but I told him my goal. And then for me, that period was very, very seminal, because he was able to make me understand that money is okay, but money is a tool. And you can't dream of tools. Money is a tool. You have to dream of something beyond the tool. And that period was so seminal for me in that he began to make me think seriously about what is it that I truly want to achieve. How do I want to achieve it? And I think over the last 30 years, that has been the focus of my life. Executing on the conversations that I had at the age of 30. And I'm still in the process of executing.
That's profound, yet scary for some of us, because we look at some of you and we are a little less advanced in the journey, and we think you've arrived. And then if you say you're still on the journey, it gives us energy to say, okay, the journey is long, so we need to keep going. But at the same time, goodness, what a long journey.
You know, what's funny is it has happened so quickly. Truly, it from the time I was Taku's age to today, it's like just disappeared. It has happened so quickly. So I can assure you, don't imagine that you have time.
Sure.
And if I was to be talking to Shingai 30 years ago,
okay,
I would be saying, you don't have time. Because I'm here now, and I'm probably 30% of the way of where I would have liked to have been.
Right.
So from your perspective and the audience's perspective, there might be a perception that, this guy has achieved everything.
Yeah.
But genuinely, I'm very far from where I would have wanted to be at 30.
So let's shift the conversation and bring it home, where we're at day one, privileged to be at day one of ENZ, Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe. And there are a couple of things that come out there. The first one obviously is networking.
Sure.
I'm keen to find out your thoughts around the importance and value of networking in your journey. And then secondly, the power of synergies and the ability and the greater ability that synergies give you. Perhaps you can talk to those two aspects.
Wow. For me, again, at 30, we did not have this opportunity to create these amazing networking opportunities. If you may, obviously none of you remember, but in 1980, 81, 82, 83, Zimbabwe was a white economy. The banking infrastructure was driven by white people. The ability to do business was invariably to go and sell to white people. We also had a government that was steeped in socialism and did not really want to encourage black entrepreneurship. So that is the frame by which I grew up. Today it's completely different.
For sure.
Regardless of the challenges that our government has, you can see that they want to encourage black economic development. Most of the resources of our country are now controlled by black people. So the environment has changed so much, and I think it's been changed for the better.
For sure.
So from that perspective, I think the environment lends itself well for the entrepreneurial organization that you have created. The second thing that prompted what I wanted to be prompted by was this concept of what is it that I think is critical for entrepreneurs. And the one thing that I've learned is a statement which I keep saying is know thyself.
Okay.
You as an entrepreneur should be as close to you as you can be. Don't try to be a Shingai or a Strive or an X or Y or Z. Or a Jillian. Be you. Because it's when you are you at your best, you become formidable. And that for me is the message that I wanted to bring across, because I see so many of us, especially the young entrepreneurs, building themselves around a particular frame of mind, somebody who they've seen, oh, I want to be like that. No, be yourself.
Right.
Because when you are yourself, you are at your best.
Does that also speak to the fact that at times it will also govern the things you get into and the things you let pass? Because no doubt you've had many young entrepreneurs, people in your organization bring ideas to you.
Mm-hmm.
And because you are so close to yourself, you know this is something that I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
It's not me. Does that also come into knowing yourself?
It does. I mean, there are things that when I started as an entrepreneur, I began to realize that although this thing will make me lots of money, it doesn't work within my frame.
Okay.
And I moved away. I was fortunate. I was able to have that clarity very early on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to move away from stuff which did not make sense to me, even though it made money for other people. I think an interesting case in point at my age was in 2010, we bought BP Shell in Zim, and we renamed it Zua. But after 3 years, we as Masawara realized that this doesn't fit. It doesn't fit with where we want to go. It doesn't fit with our ethos of how we would like to run businesses.
Sure.
And we decided to exit. And a lot of people just could not understand. How can you give up Zuba?
Was that because of the industry? What were the complexities and intricacies that
I think
prompted that decision?
It's the reason we went in to that business were the wrong reasons.
Okay.
We had already set our agenda, our strategy, but as sometimes we men, there's something called testosterone.
It's a very terrible thing. We fail to manage it all the time.
It's a bad thing. But we just got caught up with the idea of buying BP Shell because it was there, because we thought we could, and we did.
Yeah.
But once we had done that, we realized we've made a big mistake. It cost us literally 3 years of our development strategy because we went into something we shouldn't have gone into.
Right.
But I think we were strong enough as an organization to wake up and say, this is not the right thing for us to do. And that is hard for
That must have been tough.
for entrepreneurs to wake up and say, this is not the right thing for us.
Yeah, sorry, but I've got a question for Shingi. You talked of your father being your mentor at early stages of wanting to be in business. Somebody is here is listening to us right now. They don't have a father. Probably they're saying, maybe he was, his father played a part. When you made a decision to be in business, did your father participate in terms of funding, in terms of ideas, in terms of somebody's dreaming right now and they are seated in Chitungwiza and they are saying, so Shingi, his father kicked him. And probably they're thinking probably is the Tasa, the minister, said, what else can you say? Because a lot of things come into people's minds from your background.
Yeah.
Did it play a role in conscientizing or in triggering business as something inside you?
The first lesson of knowing myself was I was never going to be a great student. So that begins to already move me into a different space to the rest of my peers that I related with. Most of us went to university, most of us were going to get good jobs in good corporates. But I didn't enjoy university, I didn't enjoy school. I remember when I started working it was after convincing my father, because he wanted me to go back to do a master's. And I spent 2 weeks convincing him that I would be better for him if I worked under him.
So he was a businessman?
He was a businessman. He had a decent business. And therefore, I think from my perspective, the knowledge that I would not be a good employee in government or in another organization was what probably helped me from there.
Sorry, Bill, I've got a follow-up question. Just out of interest, can you kindly take us through your journey in business? How did you start? Do you get 5,000 from the bank, from your father to set up? Then you started selling chickens, then you grew. Because you know what?
Sure.
When I look at Joanna City, I'm looking at you, I'm saying, wow. You're talking of zoo, I'm saying, wow. How about me? I want to sell tomatoes. I can't be there. Probably somebody wants to learn your story to say, look, I started with nothing. I borrowed, how did you? Yeah.
No, I think it's a very good question. And I think it's so important sometimes when we look at people at this stage of their journey, not to see them at this stage, to go backwards and see them at your age. It's so important, because then it becomes possible. If you keep on saying, Shigai, look at this, I think you do yourself a disservice. We started as traders, buying and selling goods, mainly grains, rice, wheat, maize, and we sold throughout the region: Tanzania, Reunion, West Africa. We did reasonably well. Then we went into...
If you say we, is it you and your wife, you and...
No, at the time the grain trading was with my father.
Oh.
But he wanted to become a gentleman farmer. Oh. So he gradually decided it wasn't for him. Okay. I also decided I wanted to pursue a particular aspect of trading, which I then focused on.
Okay.
But what that taught me, obviously it gave me some capital, but from a very early stage, I recognized that if I wanted to do something, I needed to convince others to participate with me.
Okay.
Whether it's the bank or partners with capital or people to come and work with me. So my whole philosophy was built around collaborative exercise.
Right.
So if we take a look at the Joiner City, which you mentioned, when we started building the Joiner, my investment was in the land. Okay. Everything else I had to convince other people to participate in the journey. So that was the key. So did I lend money to build the Joiner? Yes. Did I find partners to build the Joiner? Yes. Did I convince people to come and work with me to do? Yes. So it became a collaborative effort. It happens that people just see me as the face of the Joiner, but there are other partners, and there are definitely people who work to make it happen.
So the lesson is don't go on your own, and don't feel that you can do it on your own.
Some people have capacity to do it on their own. I don't. I don't have that capacity. I definitely need to work with people. I definitely need the resources of other people to achieve my goals. So I actually become hardworking at figuring out how to be collaborative. So that's part of my know thyself. I think I'm good at creating collaboration.
The old adage is we are better together. Now, you've seen, and we're running out of time, so as a parting shot, as almost, you've seen a lot of ups and downs, nationally and globally. You spoke about the early 80s, just after independence. You saw the droughts. You've seen the financial collapse almost that took place pre-08. And now we're facing a formidable enemy in COVID-19. It's formidable in the sense that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that are struggling. Globally, in fact, because we're all going through the same thing. How do you stay motivated in a time such as this? And how do you keep your team going to ensure that you can still see another day?
Good. First, let me just touch on COVID. Clearly, COVID is a crazy virus that we have to manage.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think COVID is Zimbabwe's problem.
Right.
I actually think that we have other more pressing problems beyond COVID.
Sure.
But how do I move forward from here? I think having very clear visions, having very clear goals that we set. I think as an organization, we have embarked on what we're calling the 10X project, which is to grow our organization exponentially over the next 4 or 5 years.
Sure.
Now, some people might think, but that's crazy. How can you be talking about growth in this environment? But I've discovered that we are all eating, we're all driving, we're all still housing, we're still taking insurance. We're going to be...
From you?
Yeah. We're going to be inviting guests to come and be part of our journey, so you're still going to need hotels to stay in. So my sense is that having clear goals is very, very important. I think apart from knowing thyself, create goals. As an entrepreneur, you've got to create goals. You've got to be pushing yourself somewhere. And it's not a goal which is visible sometimes. It's a goal which stretches you. You can't believe you can do it today. But you put it out there and you force yourself and your organization to drive yourself. Right. So from my perspective, motivation of my people comes from making them believe not only in themselves, but in the potential of themselves. And I think that is very, very, very important.
Brilliant. Shingai Mtasa, the chairman of Masawara, executive chairman, I think it is.
Chairman is good.
Chairman is good. Chairman of Masawara, and indeed our guest of honor here at the launch of ENZ. I know I said parting shot, but since the microphone is mine, I can steal another one in there and say, what do you have to say to ENZ? The chairman of ENZ is here, founder, the founder members are all here. You declared earlier that there weren't platforms such as this when you started your entrepreneurial journey. But to those that are starting out, this platform is being created for them to be assisted. What are your words to ENZ?
I mean, as we met previously with Gillian, the reason why I'm here today is because I believe in the motivation of future entrepreneurs. And it can only be done through organizations like these that are reaching out to them, finding platforms for people like me to come and share. So it's such a critical organization. I honestly am not one who seeks conversation often, but when Gillian came and spoke about it, I was committed. Because I think if Zimbabwe is going to fulfill its potential, we have to figure out how we're going to tap into our entrepreneurial spirit. And I mean, I have traveled the world, the continent, and there's something that is very clear. I think Zimbabwe has everything that it needs to be a world beater. And part of the strength is actually its entrepreneurial capacity.
Sure.
So any organization that is being set to help nurture that grouping, we're going to support fully. So, I mean, as I said, I wouldn't be here if I was not fully committed to its success.
And we're grateful for spending this time with us, as important as it is. It is the launch of ENZ, the Entrepreneurial Network of Zimbabwe. Our guest of honor, Shingi Mutasa. We're going to take a small break, but the next voice and face that you'll see on your screens will be Trish Carman, who's the interim and acting CEO of ENZ, and she's got a few remarks that she needs and would like to share with us.
On behalf of the Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe, I would like to give my warmest gratitude, firstly to our guest speaker, Mr. Shingi Mutasa. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your motivation and sharing your mind with us. And thank you so much for honoring this occasion and our vision.
Our vision was really inspired by you, the Zimbabwean entrepreneur. We at ENZ are here to develop a generation of result-driven entrepreneurs, innovators, and business leaders with a global and national impact. So to everyone here and those of you watching this live, please go onto our website, www.enzw.org, and get all the information that you need to become part of this amazing network. And in the same breath, I'd just like to thank our sponsors, New Zimbabwe, the Daily News, the Financial Gazette, and Zimnet. This is for you, Zimbabwean entrepreneurs. So join in and come and let's share the mist of this big mountain. Thank you. Siyabonga kakhulu, tatenda.
So it's clear, the entrepreneurial journey is indeed exactly that, a journey. So we all need to walk on it. However, you cannot go on your own. The African adage says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. And that's what the Entrepreneurial Network of Zimbabwe is all about. Going together, growing together. However, in this COVID-19 world, we are stronger apart. So please remember to maintain social distancing. This world has faced two very important issues at this time. The first one, COVID-19. Exercise all the WHO regulations, social distancing, washing of hands, and don't forget to wear your mask. The second one, which we truly believe in at the Entrepreneurs Network of Zimbabwe, is that the undeniable fact is that Black lives do matter. God bless you. Follow us on Facebook and all of the other social media platforms. Make sure that you like our page and that you share it with others as well, no matter where in their journey that they are. Thank you for watching this. Make sure that you become the entrepreneur that God destined you to be. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.
The three main challenges that I faced starting my business and up to where it is, the first is funding. You can never get any funding if you don't have enough collateral. And I think this is a main challenge for most of the entrepreneurs in this country, because most of the time you don't have any collateral for you to borrow from the bank. So however it came funding, I had to look for a microfinance which was willing to partner with me in the business.
Right.
The other challenge that I faced was marketing of my products. It's difficult to break into retail chain, yes, when you're not a big brand, when you're still a small brand and you're still starting over. But over the years, we've managed to build our brand through social media marketing, and we've made it well known to the extent that people know about us, and it's
yes,
now easy for us to get into a supermarket and say, we now have a new product.
Right.
Can you list us?
Yes. One word to entrepreneurs who need to join ENZ. What is the one word of encouragement you'd give them?
I think they should just go for it, because ENZ is meant we have all these organizations that cover businesses in this country, but we don't have any organization that takes care of entrepreneurs, that takes care of startups. So ENZ is going to give them the guidance that they need. And anytime you're doing something in life, you need someone to mentor you, someone to take through the process, someone who has done it, someone who has failed, someone who's been consistent. ENZ has the right people who can take these young entrepreneurs through these challenges of starting a business, growing it, and making it fully fledged.